Hello Reefers, welcome back to Dan's Reef, and today you join me for a product review, and this time we've got another product from Hygger, and it is the HG140, and it is an aquarium fan. So many of you probably know, particularly here in the UK, we've had quite high temps of recent weeks, and my tank has been running pretty high. So I was looking around for options for cooling. I do run a DD temp controller, so I was just looking for a fan that would work with my DD controller, and I reached out to Hygger and they kindly sent me this fan to review. So it was sent to me by Hygger, but I am free to review this product and give my honest feedback with any good, bads, positives and negatives if there is any, but we will unbox it, get it on the tank, and we will go from there. And also I must add that I've had this fan for around 2 weeks now, and I've been extensively testing this product before I did the review on this. I'm not one to just jump straight into unbox and do a video on a product that I've not tested for at least a little bit of time. But let's get it unboxed and we'll go over the specs and we'll go from there. Thank you. Okay, so if we look at the front of the box, you can see there it tells you that it's suitable for aquariums up to 80 gallons or 300 litres. It has got a LCD crystal display, easy operation, that's always handy, and it's got your temperature ranges there also. Also comes with a 2-year warranty, which is nice. And then on the rear of the box, we can see there it tells you the model number and the power draw, which is only 7 watts. So that's not too bad at all. Okay, so in the box, you get your instruction manual, you get the unit itself, which actually looks pretty decent. You can see there it's got 2 fans either side. It's got your on-off, your mode, your temp button, and it has got a light, bizarrely. So the light is there, and I'll come on to that in a little bit. It comes with a little bracket to get it mounted onto the tank. Comes with a UK socket, but it is actually a USB plug, and it's got a temperature sensor as well. But let me get it rigged up on the tank, and then we'll talk a little bit more. So I've got this rigged up on the very edge of my 5-foot tank, and as you can see at the minute I've got the attachment on for the light. Now I'm not going to be using the light, I've got no interest in the light. I am assuming that light is probably more beneficial for a freshwater tank. If this is actually pointing into the tank, you could potentially have that light on. I'm not really sure why you'd want it on over your other lighting, but anyway, that is the light. So the light is now off, and the unit has got a display. So at the minute, on the external temperature probe, I've got that just in a cup of warm water, and you can see the unit is on. It's on low, and it's not making too much of a noise at all. So you can set your temperature to what you want it to cool to. All you've got to do is hold the temp, set your temperature. You can see there it was set to 25. So now the fan will try and cool the temperature, or the tank temperature, back down to 25. So the display is not too bad. It's pretty basic, but at least it gives you an indication of what the temperature is doing and what is going on. It's got 3 modes, so it's currently in the lowest mode. That is now running on mode 3. And now we are running on the maximum. So you can definitely hear it, but it is reasonably quiet. So if this was even on the top of your tank, this would still be relatively quiet. And then at the front, it's just got this vent, which you can actually angle straight across, or you can angle it down. So at the minute I've got it pointing down, and that's the vent pointing upwards, and then back down again. So at the moment I've got no wave pumps on and I've got my return pump switched off, so there's nothing running on the tank. I've just got the fan on, and as you can see, the ripple effect across the surface just off the fan is actually pretty good. So again, it's not super powerful, but it's enough to create some surface movement, even on this large tank. And this tank is 2 foot front to back as well. I'll just show you the back of the unit while it's running at its maximum. I'm not sure if my mic will even pick it up, but it's pretty quiet. It's not overly loud at all. And I just wanted to show you how I had it mounted in the sump. So I wasn't running the light. It will sit slightly lower if it's not running that light on the bracket, but that's how I had it set up. And it was blowing plenty of air into this chamber. So when we had the heat wave a couple of weeks ago, my tank temp was running at 27, and then as you can see at the minute, we're currently 25.6, which is normally what it runs at. I normally have it running at 25.8, but it did actually keep this aquarium keeping it running at 26 when it was running at 27, so it was able to drop the temperature by a degree, even on this big system. And also when I had one of the cabinet doors shut, I was still getting good airflow circulating in the sump, and I even tested it by having both doors shut, and through the gap at the back of the tank there, from the very top of the tank, I could actually feel the airflow coming out and above, escaping up the top. So that was on maximum power, and when I had the cabinet doors shut, I could barely hear it at all, even on full power. So all in all, that's been pretty good. And then the only other thing to note is just the instructions. So as you can see there, it gives you some power stats on the 3 modes. So 3 watt minimum running and 7 watts of power draw on the maximum setting. Gives you some mounting options there for your tank. And I think what it's saying is, in particular with the air stone, which is up here, it's just to make sure you've not got any air stones directly beneath it, because obviously the actual fan body itself is not waterproof, so you don't want to be dropping it into the tank. But as I said, it's a very light unit. You've got different ways you can run it in your sump, so it's out of the way if you're running a reef system like I am. And just overall, just some general instructions and your packing list of what you get in the box, and that's it. And there's your display, and that tells you what each function does as well. So there you go, guys. That was my little overview of the Hygger HG140 cooling fan. What are my overall thoughts on it? Well, I mean, the price of this unit is currently £31, UK pounds. That equates to around $43. So I think the price point is not too bad. I think the unit is very light. You're not going to have any stress of putting this onto the edge of your tanks. It weighs absolutely nothing to a degree. In that respect to the weight, because of that, it does come across quite cheap, or it has the impression that it's quite cheaply made. But the actual body of the housing is very solid. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart when it's running. The fans are actually really smooth. It's really quiet. I've not had any problems. As I said, I've had this set up in the sump that you've just seen, because obviously I don't need to run it externally across the top of the tank. However, as you saw from the footage, I would not have a problem having this on the top of the tank if it was an all-in-one, or even if it was on my old 3-foot water box tank, because it was in the corner of the room. I could have had it on the right-hand side. It would have been absolutely fine. You would get more surface cooling if you had it on the actual top of the aquarium, but as I said, I had it in the sump. But I think it did a really good job at cooling my tank, even though it's only designed for aquariums up to 80 gallons or 300 litres. My tank is actually 550 litres, and about 500 litres after displacement. And it dropped it by over a degree when we had, again, the sort of hot spells that we've had here in the UK the last few weeks, so I'll continue running it like that in my sump. I've got a lot of tidying up to do in my sump, so I'm going to get a nice permanent spot for this in my sump going forward. But it does work. As I said, there are, you know, other cooling options out there. Again, this one's fairly inexpensive, and I said I've had it long enough on test to prove that it does actually work, and it does actually have a positive effect on cooling your aquarium, even though my aquarium is way oversized for what it's designed for. But yeah, good product overall, and if there's anything changes in the long run with reliability, then I will update you as well. But it does come with a 2-year warranty, which again is pretty good for a product of that price point. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and until next time, I will see you all soon. Happy reefing.